All right, good evening, my friends. This is the fifth quarter chat doing here. A rough ending to the road trip for the Portland Trailblazers, who lose back-to-back games in Oklahoma City, and they come to Denver tonight, and they just ran out of gas. You could see it, the fatigue. They looked like a team at times that was ready to be home with their family, getting ready for Christmas. And the Denver Nuggets are one of those teams where you've got to be engaged and compete for a full 48 minutes, and we just didn't see that tonight. And Denver's able to walk away with a 120-107 victory. My biggest concern right now for this team would be the slippage on defense that we've seen now over the last several weeks. They got off to a great start, but there's been regression on that end, and they're just not competing long enough for extended periods of time enough on that end of the floor to get the job done. And tonight the Nuggets able to dominate the paint with a 66-52 edge. They shot 58% from the floor, and that was enough to get the job done. The Blazers actually put themselves in decent position going into halftime. They took a 64-58 lead. They outscored the Nuggets 37-26 in the period, but then Denver cranked up that intensity in the third, 17-0 run, and that pretty much put the game away. Portland could never really gain traction and put themselves in a position to compete there in the fourth. And one of the things that Chris and I talked about before the game that became a major factor tonight was Nurk fouling out of the game. And once he did, Nikola Jokic took over. And that is that. It's pretty simple. Denver is one of the best teams in the Western Conference. They're loaded. And if you don't compete and defend for, long stretches during the game against them, if you make some poor decisions or you take some bad shots, they're going to make you pay. And they did tonight. And like I mentioned before, they were 29-65 lifetime in Denver. Make that 29-66 now. It's just not a good place. It's tough, as you know. Your telephone number is 503-248-0620. We're nearing Christmas Eve. My man Chris Burkhardt is here. What's up, my brother?
Oh, you know the kind, bruh.
We're also on YouTube. You could jump on and join us on the YouTube stream. Just go to youtube.com, pull up the homepage, Rip City Radio, and you can click on the live link. You can also subscribe and take part in the show in the YouTube chat. But this game played out almost exactly how we thought it would. We knew coming in the end of a road trip, it's no excuse, but the legs were going to be tired. You're playing at altitude, and that has an impact on your energy level, your ability to defend for longer stretches of time, and then the legs get weak and you start to miss shots. And, Anthony Simon's struggles continue tonight. Just 14 points, only 6 of 22 from the field. And Dame, he was decent, had a game-high 34. He was 10 of 22, but only 4 of 11 from three-point range. And he struggled to hit threes in the last few games. And that's really the problem with the defense being what it is right now, Chris. This team, and you know this, but they're still too reliant upon the guard play, Dame and Ant, to really make shots. And when they don't, and when the three ball's not falling, and tonight Portland 9 of 35 from three, the problems are going to be there, and it was evident tonight once again.
It's a struggle, man. It's kind of the same story, different day, right? I mean, 44 shots combined for those two, only made 16 of them. Got to be more than just guard play, man.
All right, let's go out to the phones. Let's grab Ken in Vancouver. Kenny, welcome to the fifth quarter. What's up?
Hey, Merry Christmas, my friend.
You too. Merry Christmas, Kenny.
Hey, I'll get it out of the way. Be safe on your way home tonight. Just take it slow. You'll be fine. You remember this stuff.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I saw where the next batch of freezing rain supposedly coming in around 10. So just want to make it to my side of town and then get nice and cozy for Christmas Eve. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, tonight, you're not going to beat a great team that's fully healthy with Michael Porter Jr. coming back when your second and third best players in Ant and Grant shoot as poorly as they did. Dame was actually pretty good all game. He got a little tired in that fourth. There just was basically no other shot makers in the game. And I'll take 40% on his threes from him. I mean, we'd rather have 60%, but I thought his game was spot on tonight. But him and Hart were fantastic, I thought, considering it's the end of a road trip. But Ant, I think he's hit the first true slump in his young career. Maybe he's hit the wall a little bit, but he doesn't look anywhere close to the player he was a week and a half ago.
Yeah, he's struggling right now, and he's got to work through it. And he's not the only one. Dame has struggled over the last few games to make threes. Ant is definitely in a rut, and the team's defense is awful. They're not playing good defense. They're not competing well enough on that end of the floor. And when you combine that with a lack of shot making, you're going to have problems. And we've seen that now in 3 straight games.
I was really disappointed in Nurk. His first half was fantastic. I thought he played really well. I mean, Corey Jez talked about how, Jokic was a -10 in efficiency. And I was really happy with Nurk. And then he came out of halftime, and he looked like the Nurk that just drives us utterly mad. Some of the stupidest soft fouls, just didn't make shots at the hoop, missed his free throws. I was like, what did you do, dude? I mean, it's mind-boggling. You just can't have that, and they need Gary Payton Jr. as soon as possible. He's going to give them an infusion. They got a lot of home games coming up here, so I'm not going to get down on them. This whole league is inconsistent. There's only about 3 teams that are really playing consistently good right now. So I think the Blazers get home, but get focused, get some good practice time in. It's time to roll, baby. You got 12 of the next 18 at home. Let's win this, baby.
All right.
Happy holidays, Blazer.
I appreciate it. There you go. There's Kenny in Vancouver. I was right. I predicted before I put him on air, Chris. I told you. I said, I bet Kenny's going to crack on Ant tonight, and he couldn't resist. He had to. And he won't ever criticize Dame. I love that about Kenny, man. He's got Dame's back.
It's like Charlie calling in to talk about Josh Hart.
He is right about one thing. I think, what are they now, 17 and 16? That's 33 games. 20 of those 33 have been on the road. So the schedule it's been brutal.
That is brutal. Absolutely.
But if you don't defend, playing at home isn't going to solve all your issues either. They've got some work to do. They got to tighten it up.
I do think this is a team, though, that's just ready to be off the road, man. They've had, 2 6-game road trips already. A lot of time just in hotels. Basically the last 2 weeks right before Christmas.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to the pregame, and you could hear Travis and Casey say, "Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to getting home. I'm looking forward to seeing my kids." And I think that's a representation of the team as a whole. Like, can't tell me Dame's not ready to just get home and see Dame Jr. I mean, I know they were at the game in OKC, but still, that's not spending time with your family. You want to see him at home.
All right, I'm going to go to the phones.
At your own risk.
At my own risk. It is 9 o'clock. So it's now midnight on the East Coast. So it's Christmas Eve somewhere. And I'm looking at the phone screen right now. It just simply says Santa. And if Santa's going to make time to call into the 5th quarter before he starts his journey around the globe to deliver presents, I'm definitely going to go there right now. I'm thinking right now, I have never, I think this might be a radio first for me, I've never gotten a phone call from Santa.
Yeah.
How do you introduce Santa?
Like this?
Oh.
All right, we go to the phones. Ho, ho, ho. Santa is there. What's up, Santa?
I'm very busy here, young man. I have work to do. No, you can't hire good help anymore. I'll tell you that right now. Even if they're little elves, they don't do the job very well. Mrs. Claus poured me a strong one tonight. I'll tell you one thing here, young man. All of you people in Portland, Oregon, when are you going to get a basketball team? Santa can't give you a basketball team unless you want little short elfies that don't work hard for Santa this time of year. When Santa says, make that big screen TV, I'll tell you one thing right now. They can't solder to save their life. Don't burn the place down. They threatened to burn it down with a soldering iron because too many people want the big screen TVs. I do know one thing. That coach of the Oregon football team, he needs a razor to shave off the porn stash. Santa's over and out. Goodbye, little kitties.
There you go. That's Santa before he takes off on his long journey that's ahead of him over the next 24 hours. Actually, it might be 24 plus hours. Can Santa say porn stash? I cringed.
Santa can do whatever Santa wants.
What would be on our Christmas list? Like if we could deliver a list, what would be at the top for Santa for this Trailblazer squad? A legit starting forward to play next to Grant? Bill Knight is the owner?
That or some patches to fix the holes in that defense.
Oh, my goodness.
They need something.
Yeah, it's such a long season. You just got to remember that. It's a grind. And Kenny was right about one thing. There's not really a consistent team in the NBA right now. There's just not. So the Blazers got to continue to work and grind. The Nuggets tonight looking sharp. Michael Porter Jr., you can see what difference he makes when he's in the lineup. 18 points, 5 rebounds, had a couple of assists. He was 7 of 13. I thought he looked terrific. And Nikola Jokic, 29 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds. Back-to-back games against Portland where he's had a darn near triple-double. And Jamal Murray was tough tonight. He played nearly 40 minutes, 25 points, 12 assists, and connected on 9 of 17 from the floor. And Bruce Brown, along with Bones Highland, led the way off the bench. Brown with 9, Highland with 7, and the Nuggets with good balance tonight in their scoring. All 5 starters in double figures. 25 from Murray, 29 from Jokic, 18 from Michael Porter Jr. Dame had a game-high 34 points to lead the way for the Blazers, and Jeremy Grant with 20 points on 7 of 13 shooting. He was immense in that second quarter when he dropped 12 and helped, put the Blazers in a position to take the lead going into halftime. Let's go back out to the phones. Our good friend Jackie in Sherwood is out there. Jackie, long time no chat. How you doing?
Hey, Merry Christmas, Chad. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well. Merry Christmas, Jackie. It's so nice to hear from you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next couple of days. And, I was...
a break.
Yeah, it's so nice. Get a little break. And, my daughter was working it last night, trying to get me to let her open a gift. She was trying to get me to tell her secrets about things that are under the tree. So it's a lot of fun to live this time of year through the eyes of your kids.
Exactly. Hey, have you heard from Michael Smelzer? I haven't heard you talk about him at all. Is he okay?
Well, I'm sorry to tell you that he recently passed away. I think it was probably about 5 or 6 months ago. But, yeah, he passed, unfortunately.
I didn't know that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay to ask because I get a lot of questions like that. But, yeah, I forgot what led to it, but I knew he wasn't doing well, and he did pass away. But, he, along with Blazer Kin, there have been a number of people, and this like yourself, Jackie, people have been a part of the Rip City community who call into the show, who communicate via Fifth Quarter, who I run into at the games, and we care about him. And I think it's wonderful that you called in to ask about Michael because maybe there's a lot of people who don't know, but he was a very good guy with a tremendous heart, and I know that he just enjoyed calling and getting a chance to be on air and talk Blazers and stuff, and he was a fan for a very long time, which is wonderful.
Yes. Well, maybe Ralphie will lift our spirits this evening.
Yes, he can do that, and there's no question about that. He's up to nonsense right now as he gets ready for Christmas Eve.
Okay, well, take care. Drive safe, please.
I will, and Merry Christmas. Thanks for calling, Jackie.
Thank you.
All right, there's Jackie in Sherwood. All right, let's give you our shot of the night here in the fifth quarter.
It's time for the Nothing But Net Shot of the Night here on the fifth quarter, 620 Rip City Radio. The Nothing But Net Shot of the Night is brought to you by Oregon Dungeness Crab. Sustainably harvested, uniquely delicious, and always wild. Oregon Dungeness Crab. Always sounds good for dinner.
Nurk takes a step, now starts to dribble. One bounce, gives it to Grant, 5 to shoot. Caldwell Pope on his back, gets it in the paint, turns, fades away, high arcing shot, drops in. From the heavens for Jeremy Grant.
That was a beautiful shot. Your shot of the night here on the fifth quarter. You and I were going on and on before the game just talking about Nikola Jokic, and, man, he lived up to it again tonight. So much fun to watch. 29 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds. He makes it look easy, Burkhardt, the way he operates out there and the way he's able to set up his teammates. And like we talked about before the game, just has a knack for making the right play.
Right, and I like how Ken gets on here and says, well, they did a pretty good job on him because Corey Jez said this about his efficiency. Oh, screw your advanced stats and your efficiency ratings and this and that. Dude almost dropped a triple-double and was barely trying. It's unreal how good he is. That's where analytics is just nonsense. There's no analytic that can prove to me or tell me that Jokic is inefficient.
He's one of the most efficient players in the game.
It's unreal.
I would love to play with him. I'm telling you, if you're a teammate, you got to love it because if you're in the right spot, he's going to find you, and you'll get easier buckets. Now, real quick, the other big news that came out today, couldn't believe it. Burkhart dropped the news on me. Here in the next few days, DJ Uiagalelei is going to announce that he's transferring to Oregon State. The Pac-12 about to be lit next year.
Stacked. As a proud Islander, I like the fact that DJ is supposedly going to Oregon State. His brother's at Oregon, and I just get to listen to all these announcers try to pronounce Uiagalelei.
Yeah.
That's why they start dropping the DJ U's because no one can say Uiagalelei. I love it. It's such a great name.
It's tough. I have put time into trying to figure out how to say it somewhat okay.
You did good.
What's his name? Dabo, the head coach at Clemson. He actually had this. There's a deal on YouTube where he walks you through how to pronounce it. So I tried it over and over again until I thought, okay, I'm not going to be able to perfect it like an Islander, but at least I can make an attempt to be somewhat in the ballpark because it's the same thing with Giannis. There's a reason why I always say Giannis and not his last name because it's tough.
Yeah,
I don't want to butcher it. Uiagalelei.
Uiagalelei.
Dude, Bo Nix, Oregon. Michael Penix, Washington. Drew Pine, Arizona State. DJ Uiagalelei, Oregon State. Deion Sanders' son at Colorado.
Yep.
Caleb Williams at USC. Who was the guy at Washington State that transferred to Arizona?
Jaden DeLora.
Jaden DeLora at Arizona. There's a couple other guys.
You still got Cam Ward.
Cam Ward at Washington State.
You have possibly Cam Rising. There is reports that he's going to move on, but he does have a year of eligibility if he wants to take it. So quarterback play in the Pac-12 is going to be stacked.
All right, let's get you up to date around the association tonight with Scoreboard Report brought to you by Elene.
The fifth quarter on 620 Rip City Radio presents the Scoreboard Report, brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, Elene's ultimate venue for sports fans every Monday night, featuring beer and wing specials and more.
All right, into the third quarter in Phoenix, the Grizzlies on top of the Suns 97-69. Jaren Jackson Jr. with 18 points and 10 rebounds. Fourth quarter in Sacramento, the Wizards on top of the Kings 114-92. Kyle Kuzma with 28 points, 9 rebounds. Third quarter in Los Angeles, the Hornets on top of the Lakers 88-79. Terry Rozier with 15 points. Finals, Magic over the Spurs in Orlando 133-113. Anthony with 23 points, 10 boards, and 9 assists. In Philadelphia, the Sixers topped the Clippers 119-114. Joel Embiid, a big night, 44.7 rebounds. In Atlanta, the Hawks topped the Pistons 130-105. Trae Young, 26 points, 13 assists. In Boston, the Celtics topped the Timberwolves 121-109. Jaylen Brown with 36 points, 7 rebounds. The Nets continue their hot streak as they top the Bucks 118-100. Claxton, 19 points, 8 boards, and 3 steals. The Raptors going to Cleveland and get the win 118-107. Scotty Barnes, 25 points, 10 boards. The Chicago Bulls take out the Knicks in New York 118-117. DeMar DeRozan with 25 points, 7 boards, 10 assists. Pacers take out the Heat in Miami 111-108. Tyrese Halliburton with 43 points, 7 assists. Mavericks 112, Rockets 106 in Houston. Doncic 50 points, 8 boards, 10 assists. Freak. Final in overtime in OKC, the Pelicans over the Thunder 128-125. And the Nuggets over your Portland Trailblazers 120-107. Taking a look at the standings in the Western Conference. Nuggets are on top 20-11, followed by Memphis. They're a half game back. New Orleans at 20-12 in third, a half game back. Phoenix is in fourth 1.5 back at 19 and 13. Sacramento 5th. The Clippers are 2.5 back at 19 and 15. They're in 6th, followed by the Jazz, the Mavericks, the Blazers, and the Timberwolves. Portland at 17 and 16. 4 games back in the West. 20 of their 33 have been played on the road, and they've got a slew of home games that are coming up. And that is your scoreboard report brought to you by Lene. All right, let's go back out to the phones. Ralph, the landscaper, East Amity. Merry Christmas, Ralphie.
Hey, how you doing tonight, Chan?
Very well.
Disappointing, deal. But I kind of knew they weren't going to do much in Denver. They, like you're saying, those numbers, they really don't. And I'm not a big follow the stats will make you whole kind of a thing. Jesus didn't come down to earth and say, let me tell you some stats, okay? Let me give you a couple stats and how to make your life whole and meaningful and give you the real true purpose.
That's true.
He didn't have an analytics team following him around here. Did you get what I'm saying there, Chan?
I do. No analytics team for the Messiah.
Yeah, so I just jumped on this YouTube deal, and I see my name flying around here. And your guy there, he was kind of evasive when I said, what is going on here? And so can you tell me, or do I need to go through and read all this gibberish on here? Because most of it is gibberish, probably, right?
Yeah, it's all gibberish, usually, typically.
Your granny used to use that word gibberish, didn't she? To you?
Yes, and I was told not to use gibberish at the dinner table, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we don't need that type of gibberish right now.
Yeah. Well, that just is, pointless chatter. So what's going on here, Chan?
Well, I'll tell you what's going
this.
on. Jackie in Sherwood called in, and she asked about Michael Smelzer, who had passed away, and she said, maybe Ralph will call us and be able to lift our spirits. So that's really what's going on. And then, boom, you call in. So nice work. Good timing.
Yeah, well, I heard her call, and I've always liked when she calls in because, it's like a mom or an aunt or a grandmother or someone like that calls in that's always sort of like, they put a smile on your face. They're real consistent with their personality and all that stuff. And it's a treat when she calls in because it kind of gives some of the Chans of the world who, sometimes can be a little bit up and down. Not always, sometimes. It gives them a little bit of, calmness in their life. You see what I'm saying, Chan?
100%, absolutely. And that's what I like about Jackie, yes.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. And then your guy there, I looking on the YouTube thing, he looks like a guy that I would actually trust to come rescue me out of a sticky situation with some foreign, shall we say, troublemakers that want to come get me. And if they grab me and put me in the back of a black van with a bunch of bleach in there, he looks like the kind of guy, sort of a mercenary sort of look tonight that I'd like to have him come and rescue me out of that. Would you agree?
Well, my crew is here for whatever you need, Ralph. So if you need rescuing, I got the guys that can help you.
Yeah, and I heard your other kid. What's your other kid's name there?
Burkhart?
Preston,
yes. Yeah, Preston was on this morning.
Yeah, he does a nice job, I think, don't you?
He does a good job, yes. He's a homer at times. He loves his Oregon Ducks and his L.A. Chargers, and he's definitely full of juice as a youngster, so we got to rein him in a bit. He's like a wild stallion that needs to be tamed.
Yeah, you can't have that, especially when here you guys are carrying the Oregon State football team there. I went, I don't know if I told you this, Chan, but I got invited by a longtime friend of mine, longtime season ticket holder, Oregon State alum, very nice, connected person in the community there to a football game. I don't remember who they played, but he's like, hey, we got to go over here this deal before the game. We got to get there 2 hours early and went to this kind of like a dinner thing, like a sit-down dinner near the stadium. I think it was at the CH2M Hill Center. Well, they're an engineering company, I know. And so we went in there and we sat down and they said, well, we're sorry, we're done serving. And then another guy comes up and says, oh, hey, it's and then he mentions this guy's name and he said, hold on a minute, we'll be right with you. Sit down. So we had a very nice dinner, and then he takes me outside in this little room, and there's a big sign that talks about how much money people donated that night. And he was saying, you can join this crowd, and basically trying to fleece me of 10 or 20 grand or 25,000 or something like that, which is not that big of a deal to me. And I didn't want to do it. I felt kind of pressure. Chan, you ever get in that situation where they want 20, 30 grand out of you and you just don't feel right about the timing of it more than anything?
Not that type of dollar amount, but yeah, I've definitely been in a situation where I feel a little uncomfortable about the timing to part away with some cash.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do have to tell you something that I got a kick out of, Chan. I do this kind of stuff this time of year. I went to a McDonald's, and I won't say where it was, and you have to time this deal right. There was this car behind me that, was burning oil, primer paint job, and it looked like there were kids in the back, and it looked like, just based on my guess, either a struggling mom or a single mom. So what I did is I said, okay, let me see, that's the only car. So I ordered, and I just drove right up and got my stuff. When I paid, I told the kid, I said, listen, you wait until I get past the food line there and get my food, and I'm driving away, and then you tell him that, hey, the car in front of you paid, plus he wants to give you a $100 gift card from McDonald's here. And I did that, but the funny thing was, I got up to pull out on the road, and there was a big semi truck going by, so I had to stall there, and this girl sticks her upper torso out of the window of this thing. I'd be surprised the window even rolled down, Chan. And here I see shall we say, a blessed female with her short hair and her arms up and waving and saying thank you and waving at me. I just wanted to get out of there at that point in time. It was a good deed that turned to a little bit of an embarrassment for me, but I guess it's okay that it all worked out. I finally got on the road and just drove away, and off I went.
That's great. And I love those scenarios because it's like one of those, what do they call it, pay it forward, right, where you start something that hopefully will create a chain reaction in the line, and then before you know it, a lot of people are experiencing a blessing right before Christmas Eve. That's what you're hoping for there.
Well, yeah, I don't care if she pays it forward or not. I don't think she was in a position to do that. But I understand what you're saying, Chan. In many cases, that is the scenario you want. I just hope Susie and Billy got the 12-piece nugget instead of the 4-piece nugget.
Yeah,
that's what really matters to me.
I know. That's what matters to me. I always wanted the 20-piece, and my dad always balked at it because he said I wasn't going to eat it all. He was probably right.
Oh. Well, I could tell your dad never got you the 20-piece. You're not exactly a picture of buffness, Chan. But you're a golfer, though, too, right?
Yeah, yes. Movement, golf.
Yeah, but you dress kind of sharp on this YouTube deal. Is that how you've been dressing before the YouTube deal, or you just get some new clothes?
No, what this is called is bundled up because it's cold in the studio, and the wind. The air is seeping through the glass and the windows out in the hallway, so I'm trying to stay as bundled up as I possibly can.
Don't they pay for the damn heat down there?
No, they don't. I think they turn it. Chris and I were talking about this the other night. I think they turn the power down at night so they could save a few dollars, and it cools off in here. That's what it feels like, right?
Yeah, at night and the weekends. I've never been here for a Saturday or Sunday game and been warm.
Yeah, weekend fifth quarter's rough.
So let me tell you something right now, and Chris, I know you would never say this because you would be afraid they'd fire you, and if they fire me, that's okay. I don't care. But every hour or so, I hear Revival Heating on your radio station, and it sounds like a fun outfit to work for, good place to be, and all that stuff. But for God's sake, shouldn't your radio station call one of their own advertisers and have them fix those drafts and make it so that you're not freezing your tuchus off down there, Chan? If your lips get too cold, that could be an occupational hazard, Chan.
That's actually not a bad idea. I'm going to go through our list of advertisers, and anything that Chris and I think that we need for the studio, I'm going to start making some phone calls. That's smart.
Yeah, well, you need to make it happen, Chan, because you got to understand, and they need to understand this. If your lips get frozen and you get scars and sores on your lips, OSHA will be down there in 5 seconds to deal with that. I mean, they'll be knocking the doors down, saying, "Here we go, welcome to the lawsuit." A radio personality, I don't know if you're a personality, but radio
really.
person gets lips injured by frozen microphone, and here comes the lawsuit. That gets some attention, on those TV investigative reporter guys will be down there trying to figure that one out and say, "Hey, let's angle this and let's." So they need to think about that kind of stuff, don't you think so,
Yeah,
Chan?
that would make for a great story where they come in, radio host, tongue stuck to the microphone.
Yeah, well, that'd be bad, and the hard part would be that I'm not sure how it would affect your partner's, hair or beard or anything like that. He could get a frizzy because the air's, just not working right in there, and that could be ugly. But
all kinds of hazards in the workplace.
yeah. So anyway, Chan, I just wanted to let you, check in with you here real quick and say hi to everybody out here, and I hope that the Blazers kind of get this thing turned around. But let's have realistic expectations. It's Denver, and they never play Denver well, especially down there. And it's one of those deals. But here is one thing. Maybe that you heard this from me, Chan, right here.
All right.
Oh, Ralph, he doesn't talk about the basketball. Okay, people, this is for you. I think you and Burkhart guy there and everybody needs to stop talking about them playing defense. They could care less about playing defense, and they're probably never going to play defense. They're just throwing that out there. It's like an old boss I had used to say, "Yeah, we're going to be figuring out or getting a raise for you," when I was a young kid, and he never did. And so I always took that to heart. I don't jack people's hearts around like that, and I think I don't think this team really cares about playing defense. So that's just my 2 cents worth. And I'm Ralph the Landscaper in East Amity, Oregon, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and better yet, a really good Valentine's Day. So I'll see you later.
Take care. Those are out the landscaper. You're right. He doesn't talk basketball much. He might be onto something there with the defense. They haven't really cared too much about giving too much energy on that end of the floor for a long time.
Yeah,
It's not untrue.
very true.
Let's go out to Troy in Vancouver. Troy, welcome to the fifth quarter. You're up, buddy. Fire away.
Hey, Chan. How's it going?
Very well, buddy. What's up?
Oh, hey, I got a couple of things. First, I can't help myself. I got to say shame on you, Ralph, for not coughing up $20,000 with all your professed millions, buddy. Come on, We've been hearing about all these shekels and stuff. Come on, man, my beef's needed. All right.
I agree, man. If you're going to talk about the spoils, then don't hesitate when it comes to 20 or 30 grand. That's chump change for Ralphie, based on what he says.
If you have that kind of, you probably had it in his front pocket. Now, come on. Hey, I'm just curious. We talked a few months ago about some of these teams that may be tanking, and maybe some players might be freed up, or I'm just curious if you've done any eyeballing on that yet.
Free agents? Are you talking about potential trades before the deadline?
Yeah, just people that might free up that otherwise we might not have thought that they would, or because of the fact that some of these teams are going to be tanking for that Victor dude?
Yeah, I mean, that's really going to be it. I mean, we've spent most of our time talking about potential positions. I think the most obvious would be a small forward to line up next to Jeremy Grant, or a power forward and then slide Grant to the 3. And then we'll start hearing more and more specific names about guys who will become available over the next few weeks as we get into the new year. And especially once we get by the time we get to mid-January, approaching February, that's when the names are really going to start to fly. But I would say that their number one target would be a forward. If they're going to look to make a big splash, it would be a forward to put next to Grant, so you could round out the starting 5 and go from there.
Oh, absolutely.
No question.
Do you think that they would possibly consider doing something with Nurk, or think that anybody would be even remotely interested in that, or
I don't know.
I'm just kind of concerned about the addition by subtraction program. I mean, we've gone over and over people we don't want to get rid of, but it might be on the verge of, if we don't make a big
They're going to have
move
to
of
make a
some
big
sort.
splash. You're right. I agree with everything you're saying is that if they're in a position to where they think they can make a run, then you're going to have to part with someone on the roster that you really care about in order to bring in the difference maker to really flesh out the team. They're going to have to make that decision. Do we look at the draft with Wembanyama and all the talent that's going to be in the draft, or are we truly going to make a run for the playoffs? And if so, at some point with Dame on the roster and that timeline with Dame, you got to roll the dice and take some risks.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fine as long as, if we're going to get rid of one person and maybe, another one off the bench or whatever. But, some of these trades, I mean, literally you have to gut the team just to get somebody. And, we don't want to go that route.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. They're going to have they'll learn a lot more over the next few weeks in terms of where they're at, their positioning in the West, and what type of team they have. And then Cronin will have to have a tough choice. Do they go draft or do they really try to make the move? And that's going to be the ultimate decision coming up in the next month or so.
Yeah. And lastly, I was just going to say tonight's game is another illustration on why those games with the Thunder really hurt.
Yeah.
If we could have, even one of them,
Yeah, one game against the Thunder, you come back 3-3, it's a successful road trip. But you drop both those games, and you have to finish up in Denver, and now you come back with a 2-4 trip and a missed opportunity.
Yeah, with dead legs. I mean, you can tell that's the shooting woes, dead legs.
No question.
All right, buddy, have a good one.
All right, Merry Christmas. You too, buddy. There's Troy in Vancouver. Let's grab Carmine in Southeast. Carmine, my man, what's up? Fire away.
Chaz.
Hey,
The
what's
last
up, brother?
time we talked, hey, what's up, Chaz? Hey, how you been, buddy? Happy holidays.
You too, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm well, and looking forward to Christmas time, bro.
Oh yeah, it's a vibe. It's nice. I had a snow day with the dogs today.
Can't beat that.
Thanks for your interview. Yeah, it was great. Didn't have to go to work. That's nice. But then, I watched over my little Christmas break here 3 Blazer losses in a row, and man, we are who we thought we were. It's a little unnerving, and just they got my hopes up, Chas. I was flying on a high cloud, saying this team is going to be a contender, or at least a 4 seed or a 5 seed, and now I'm left with, I don't think we're a very good basketball team. And that's just what I see. It sucks. It hurts. And I'm upset about it.
I understand 100%, buddy. I totally get it. It's frustrating because they got off to the fast start, Carmine, 10-4. They were playing good defense. They were, winning games without Dame on the floor. And, now we're starting to get a bigger picture view of what this team is. And it goes back to what Chris was saying before the game today on game day, that this roster is not complete. It's nowhere near where they want it to be. Joe Cronin said that. He knows that. And if this team is going to go to the next level, they're going to have more talent. Obviously, you see it with the lack of scoring on the bench. The starting 5 is not a perfect starting 5. They got work to do. They've got to improve the roster. All right, let's get to our drive of the night here on the 5th quarter.
It's time for the Portland Trailblazers Drive of the Night here on the 5th quarter, hosted by Chad Dewing, 620 Rip City Radio. Drive of the Night is brought to you by Dick's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Wilsonville, ready to compete with the lowest prices in town.
Keon Johnson now gives it to Anthony Simon. Screen comes back to Keon. He drives, steps through, reverse, and banked it in. Keon Johnson with the 2.
Keon Johnson showed me a gear I didn't know he had.
503-248-0620 is your telephone number. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. We're going to come back. We'll give you our poster play of the night, and we'll get back to your phone calls, and we'll keep things rolling here. The Blazers now with a couple of days off. They're back home. They're heading to Portland now from Denver, and they're going to host the Charlotte Hornets on Monday. That game will tip at 7 from Moda Center. All right, fifth quarter. Your telephone number is 503-248-0620. 503-248-0620. Nikola Jokic. I was looking at the numbers, Chris. So Nurk fouled out with, I think, just over 7 minutes left in the game. When he left, Jokic took over and scored 8 points down the stretch. And like Eubanks, as hard as he works, he doesn't have the size to deal with him. And that was part of the problem with Nurk not being on the floor. And we talked about the foul trouble before the game. They needed him on the floor to contain Jokic. And, dude, when Nurk's not on the floor and he looks at a guy like Eubanks, he's like, I can operate there because he's got the size to do it.
And there was a couple plays, Chad, where Eubanks, I thought, played really good defense on Jokic, like stayed in front of him, stayed behind him when he put his back to the basket. But barbecue chicken, as they say, right? Like Jokic just ate it up. Like there was nothing Drew could do about it despite playing good defense.
Yikes, man, they're good. And Michael Porter Jr., you know, he's got the health issues, but he was on the floor tonight. You can see how much better they are when he's, you know, kind of that third man, that offensive option next to Murray and Jokic.
He opens it up a lot because he's talented offensively. He's good defensively.
Quick release on the three.
I hope the Bones Highland injury isn't bad because gosh, what a spark plug, man. He's fun.
Him. He's fun, and I know from some of the guys I know in Denver that he works really hard, and he's put in a lot of time to try and improve his game, which is impressive. We'll go to the phones here in just a moment, but let's give you our collection connection poster play of the night.
The fifth quarter poster play of the night is brought to you by Collection Connection, the leaders in framing sports memorabilia, team awards, and so much more. Collection Connection offers you a one-stop, full-service framing experience. Find them online at COLLCONN.com.
Here's Murray, crosses over, has a strip, but gets it back. Cross-court pass, dangerous. Caldwell Pope leaps to grab it, gives it to Porter, raises for three, air ball, might have been deflected. Dame's got it, up the pass to Grant, drives on Jokic and slams it home.
All right, back to the phones we go. Let's go out to Sean in Sandy. Sean, welcome back, my friend. Fire away.
You guys make it sound like you're in the Ed Sullivan studio, freezing in there.
It is cold. It is. I'm not going to lie. I'm bundled up, and I came in prepared today because I knew what I was going to face as the night went on here in the studio.
Hey, I just took a little nap, and I woke up and turned the radio on. It was great to hear Ralphie's voice.
That's good. Good timing on your nap and waking up.
Yeah, but it was a bummer to hear that the Blazers lost again.
They did.
You know?
Yeah. It's
and then I hear Ralph talk about, defense, and that's where it's at. There ain't no team outside of top 10 defense usually that ever wins a championship.
That is 100% correct. The only team to do it recently was, I believe it was the 0-1 Lakers with Kobe and Shaq.
And how many times is a team like, Portland, like we only got one all-star that's a one-way player. Like when your leader doesn't lead by example. And I've worked for a lot of great leaders, and no leader I've ever worked for has always told me, I never ask you to do something I won't do myself.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Here's what I think about Dame. I think he does lead by example, Sean. I think he's just not a defensive player. That's not his skill set. That's not his talent. He's not a good defensive stopper. He sets his example by his preparation, the time he puts into taking care of his body, the attitude and the way that he leads and works with the younger players on the roster. Unlike other guys we've seen here in the past, a great guy in the community, perfect guy to be the face of your franchise. So he sets the example in so many other ways. He's just not a good defensive player. And you know what I'm starting to wonder about defensive players, Burkhardt, is like, I don't know how to explain it, but I just think that some guys don't have the athleticism to be a good defender. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like, I just don't think Dame has whatever it needs, whatever that element is that you need to be a better defender. I don't think that he's got that.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of put your nose on it, right? But I think it's one thing that's tough because you can teach a bad shooter how to shoot. You can't teach a bad defender how to defend.
That's right.
You can't go into a gym by yourself and just practice defense. You can go into a gym by yourself and grab a basketball and work on your shot form, though. Got to remember, they put in those things in the practice facility a couple years back where when they would shoot, you would hear it. It would announce out throughout the gym, the shot angle and all that, so that they could work on their shot to get the perfect shot angle.
Yeah.
Can't really do that defensively, right? So it's a tough one to teach if you don't have it.
Let's go back out to the phones. Oh, looky here. Dr. Scott down in Salem. I wonder what he's up to on a Friday night, getting ready for Christmas Eve. Let's find out. Hey, Dr. Scott, welcome to the fifth quarter, my friend. Merry Christmas.
I wanted just to say that I hope you're doing okay. Are you doing okay?
I am. I'm very happy right now, Dr. Scott, and I'm looking forward to Christmas time with the family.
That's very good. Now, I have in my notes from your file that you have a little furry friend, too.
I do. My furry friend, his name is Puppy Shots, and I love him to death, a little wiener dog.
So you make sure that you take good care and keep the puppy warm, okay? People are stupid. They put the dog in the cold place in the cold weather like this, and that's not very nice to the doggy.
No, I would never do that to him, and I can guarantee you tonight when I fall asleep, he'll be very warm because he'll burrow under the covers and snuggle up and nestle in on the small of my lower back.
Well, that's very, very, very...
Hey, Dr. Scott, by the way, I've got to tell you,
good.
I got to tell you, props on the music. This is very festive of you to go with something outside of your norm with the Christmas music. I respect that.
Well, I have two very special friends here tonight, and I'm going to be enjoying the music with them. They're here.
Now, make sure
ready.
that you keep your special friends warm and don't put them in a cold place.
Oh, yeah, it was very good of you to turn the dinner table like that on me. But you know better than that. Well, you don't know better than that, but you just should know better than I'm not going to have my special friends. They will never be cold unless they misbehave, unless they were bad, as the Claus would say. Then maybe they will be cold on the way back to their car, when they have to drive away in shame, leaving where I live. And I'm not going to tell you where I live. Just know that it's part of Salem that not too many people have the monies to live here. So I have a long list of people tonight that I need to check on.
Yes.
My spotters were worried about you, though, because I understand now, I did not know this until just today, that you work on the radio with the sports team.
Yeah,
and the sports team did not do good today.
Yeah.
And so that's not good.
They've lost three straight. They're not playing good basketball, Dr. Scott.
Oh, it's basketball. Okay. So did they fail, or did the other team just be better than them?
I would say it was a combination of both. It was the other team playing very well, but the Blazers not executing the way that they're supposed to. I do like this song, yes. Let It Snow.
It's Let It Snow. Isn't that a cute song to play on a day like today?
Yes. I think it's perfect based on the drive-in.
Yes. So I just wanted to say that I hope you're doing good, and I will check you off the list and move on. I have 3 more calls before the time is up at 10 o'clock, and then I will bid you adieu. Dr. Scott in Salem. So long, my friend. Be good, and be good to yourself and your special friends. Good night.
All right, there you go. I never know how to transition out of a phone call from Dr. Scott. Does he have a lisp?
I don't know. It
sounds like he may have a lisp. What do you think, YouTube chat? Does Dr. Scott have a lisp?
Should have asked him to produce. Jeez, maybe I got a lisp. What the heck? Who? Hey, pronounce. How do you even get produce? I am tired. I'm blaming my children.
Because I do that all the time, where I sometimes my mind doesn't work as fast as my mouth, and so I'll combine words. What words were you combining? Produce.
I don't know. It's so bad. I got no excuse.
What word did you want him to produce?
I wanted him to produce Uyangalele, but I don't know how I could say that, but I can't say pronounce. Produce. That's a new one.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, that's so good. Oh, I love it. Oh. Nick Thompson says Watford is garbage. Well, I think Watford, that's a good example. The bench we need more scoring off the bench. I think it's not that Watford is garbage. It's that you have these bench players that each kind of fill a certain role. Like Watford he's going to come in and play hard and do what the coaches ask. And he'll scrap and give you a rebound, but he's not a great shooter, a great scorer. He's undersized, playing a big down low. But if they had a couple of other legit pieces on the roster, Waffle. I'm not even drinking, man. This is just bad. Watford would be a good energy burst off the bench. Eubanks is a great backup to come in and give you energy, rebounds. He'll shoot a high percentage, but he's not a big scorer. Winslow, not a great shooter, but in spots, he can defend multiple positions, right? These role players are good. They're just not dynamic. So it's part of the issue. Let's go out and talk to the Outlaw. Outlaw, welcome to the fifth quarter. I have not spoken with you in a while, but it's nice to have you back.
Well, Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas, my friend.
I want to say something about defense. It's real easy to play defense. It's only called effort and pride. That's all it takes, effort and pride.
Yeah.
As long as you're as talented and athletic, all it takes from there is just effort and pride. So I just wanted to put that out there when you were talking about Dame not having something. What he doesn't have is the effort and the pride. He's more worried about his offense. So you guys have a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. And I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right, I appreciate that. There's definitely an element of want to defense. Here's the other question I have for you about Dame Burkhart, because I've thought about this in my mind. Like, Dame is best suited on this team when he is hitting shots and scoring points. He's a scorer, right? Do they really want him to take so much energy away from the offensive end and focus on being a plus defender? He's never going to be a lockdown guy. What I'm saying is that if he were to expend a lot of energy to where he could become a plus defender, but his offense takes a hit, like, do you really want that? No. I agree. Better to have the right roster and the right pieces around him so that he can focus on doing what he does best.
And sometimes I think, Chad, a guy can just be an average to slightly below average defender. My only hiccup with that call is the fact that watching Dame, I don't think Dame lacks effort on that end. I've watched him try to fight around picks for years. I've actually argued over the years. I think he's gotten better at times. It's just he's just not great. He's just not great on that end. And I agree with you. I don't want him to be a plus defender at sacrificing his offense. How many players can you go through in history are really, truly plus on both ends? Yeah. The ones that are the all-time greats, right? The LeBrons, the MJs, the Kobes, the guys that we've talked about.
Special guys.
And Dame is special, but his offensive game is special. That's why you got to do the Steph Curry thing like we talked about. You build a team around him that can mask those deficiencies and just focus on what he's super, super good at.
All right, I think that's going to do it for us. I failed us again. We had a game plan to get out to beat the freezing rain that is supposedly coming, but it was well worth it because I got to say Trendon Wafa, and you got to say Perneuse.
I have no excuse how that one happened. Perneuse.
All right, a big thanks to all of you on the chat. I know Chris and I really enjoy it, but Rachel, Scott, Nick, Marcus, Colby, Sue, all of you. We love the interaction. We love it when you take time to join us on the YouTube chat. We appreciate that. And, of course, all the phone callers. But, Burkhart, Merry Christmas, my friend. Have fun with the girls.
Oh, man. They might not sleep the next 48 hours.
It's out of control.
It's over for me.
Yeah. And me. Like, there's nothing that can stop the excitement of Christmas. Nothing. And I love that. All right, our next broadcast is going to come up on Monday. Chris and I are going to be back here. Game day will start at 4:30. Tip-off with the Hornets and Blazers will be at 7 from Moda. And then Chris Burkhardt is going to man the ship for fifth quarter on Monday night from Moda Center right there above the court. So you can check out Chris handling fifth quarter on Monday after the Hornets game. Final score tonight from Denver at Ball Arena. The Nuggets get the win 120-107 for my man Chris Burkhardt. I am Chad doing Merry Christmas to all of you. Enjoy the holiday, and we'll talk to you on Monday.